As Sarah mentioned, my name is Derek Barca. I'm the CTO of Silvertech. We're a digital marketing agency. Prior to that, I worked at Extron, which was a leading content management system back in the 2000s, early 2000 teens. I was there for 7 years with Bill Rogers, now running up AI 1 to Z, as well as a bunch of progress people, Heather and Dale and Chris and all of them. And I was there for 7 years. And the reason I say that, I was there for 7 years. I've been at Silvertech for about 13. So I've been doing this whole marketing technology CMS thing for about 20 years now, which makes me old and gives me lots of grumpy opinions. And my current opinion is that DXPs are a delusion. And what I mean by that is that the whole idea of a digital experience platform is almost a misnomer. I think if we're honest with ourselves and with each other, a DXP it's really just a content management system rebranded with a fancy title. The DXP term came from Gartner, and I think it was 2017 or 2018. And their aim for that was to kind of capture the fact that a lot of the larger DXPs, the Adobes, the Sitecors, the Optimizely's were trying to do more things than just web content management. They were adding email marketing. Obviously, they already had things like personalization and A/B testing, but adding email marketing, adding contact management, and things like that. And Gartner was like, all right, they're more than content management systems now. They're digital experience platforms to kind of help you orchestrate experiences across multiple channels. Well, let's fast forward, 7 years, 8 years, and DXPs are really, really good at, personalizing journeys and experiences in exactly one channel, and that's the web, right? They're really not doing much more than that if we're honest with ourselves. Again, some of them do email marketing okay, but really, if you're going to spend 6 figures on a content management system, you can spend 10 grand on HubSpot and do email marketing really well instead of okay. So that's kind of my premise. And the reason I think it matters is I think it's doing marketers a disservice. I think if they think that they're going to buy this platform and all of a sudden they're going to be able to manage digital experiences across a bunch of different platforms and experiences and things like that, I think they're not focused on kind of like the real way to actually drive personalized, tailored, consistent experiences across all those different touch points that we have with our customers. And I think if we really want to do that, the best way to do that is to kind of look at the organizations that do that really, really well today, right? And if we think about great digital experiences, we probably think about people like Netflix and Spotify and Amazon, Uber, all those types of companies that are really good at those experiences and kind of hitting you where you need to be hit. If you think about Amazon, obviously they do things like process 66,000 orders per hour, which is ridiculous, but beyond that, they do a lot of things that we want to do. If I go to the Amazon website and I look at a frying pan or anything really, I'm going to leave the website and I'm going to open up Instagram or Facebook or something like that. I'm going to get that ad for that frying pan, right? And then I'm going to open up my email. I'm going to get an email about a frying pan. And then I'm going to get a text message about a frying pan. And then I'm going to go to Google and search for not a frying pan, but I'm still going to get ads for frying pans, right? Because they're very, very good at understanding context and what it is that you want and making sure they get that message in your face, which is what we all want to do, right? And then if you look at someone like Netflix, yes, they have 200-300 million subscribers and they're streaming billions of movies and TV shows every month. But when I think of Netflix, I really think about, they're the gold standard when it comes to personalization, right? They've perfected that algorithm to get you the best movie or next TV show that you're gonna like. And they've gone beyond that. They don't just recommend you the next best show. They tailor how they recommend it to you. So if the next show I should watch is Stranger Things, for example, and the next show that someone else here is supposed to watch is Stranger Things, we're actually gonna get different ads. Like me, being an 80s kid, I'm gonna get an ad associated with the 80s and things like that, where someone who's maybe more of a mystery or a horror type person is gonna get imagery about horrors and mysteries and contexts like that. They're very good at tailoring the message to that specific person, which again is kind of what we all wanna do. Spotify, for example, again, they're great at providing that recommendation around the next best song, another artist you might like. But again, they go beyond that as well. They have, you get in your car on a Monday morning, turn on your radio, and they're gonna recommend that custom playlist for Monday morning blues that's gonna help you, transform from Sunday into Monday and make you productive. They're really good at kind of tailoring recommendations based upon context and where you are at that time. And the point of all this is that none of this is done with a DXP, right? These are all, for the most part, done with a number of different systems. If you look at Netflix, for example, it's all done with microservices. We talked about microservices last time. It's finding the best tool for a specific job, using that tool for that job and making sure it's all connected through open APIs and built on top of a unified data layer so that wherever that piece of software touches you, it's giving you that consistent experience based upon that context, which is, again, what we all want to do. And if we think about any of our own industries, they're all the same. None of this one-size-fits-all thing is not going to work. A DXP isn't going to work for a bank, for example. A bank does have a website, and yes, that's a good touch point, and we can personalize the website using the content management system, but it also has a mobile app. That mobile app is touching more customers than that website is, and you can't, Adobe Experience Manager can't personalize the experience in that mobile app. It can't personalize the experience in online banking because those are completely different platforms. Those are run by Alchemy or Q2 or some other fintech, and it's just not going to work. If you look at some of the vertical specific applications, online account opening, online loan application, things like that, again, the DXP isn't driving those experiences. It's a different application that we have to figure out how to tailor experiences to. Same with SMS and email and that whole sort of thing. If we look at someone like higher education, same thing. Yes, we can drive personalized experiences on the higher ed website. We can even maybe do it in the student portal if we built the student portal on the content management system, but they probably have an LMS for online courses. That's probably Canvas or Blackbaud. We can't touch that. They have student information systems. They might have a mobile app. Again, they're probably sending emails and SMS and things like that. Again, things that the DXP isn't going to touch. So if we want to personalize those experiences, we have to find a way to connect all those different ecosystems. And that's kind of where I think actually Neil talked about it a little bit. I got a little excited because he was like, I'm going to talk about that. This is great. Perfect. Thanks for the tee up. 15 years ago, it was about build versus buy, right? If I had to implement a big software package, it was, do I go buy an SAP, an Oracle, a Sitecore, and optimize it to kind of fit my business needs, or do I have to build something custom to fit those business needs very, very specifically? Today, we're not doing that. Netflix didn't build anything. Amazon's not building anything. It's really about all those different microservices we're talking about. And if you look at the current martech map, which I think has 15,483, is that the right number? Yeah. Okay, I was close. There's 15,000 martech solutions out there that we can use to build our digital marketing ecosystem. So this has everything from your standards like Salesforce on the CRM side to HubSpot on the marketing automation side, but also all those industry-specific tools that we need to work our business around. And for Smart, we're going to take those tools and use those to build out all of our digital experiences. And this is where kind of the content management system does come into play. We're going to build our DXP ecosystem, and in the middle of that is going to be our content management system, because content is still super important for delivering all those messages. But then on top of that, underneath that content management system is going to be our data warehouse, because we need all of that customer data to drive all those data experiences, right? That's the most important part here, is that context to drive those experiences. And then sitting in between the CMS and that data warehouse is that CDP that we also heard Neil talking about. If you're not familiar with the customer data platform, it's all about data activation. So today, if you don't have a CDP, but you do have a data warehouse, and maybe you want to start marketing to a segment of your customers, you're going to have to go to your IT team, you're going to have to go to your data science team and say, hey, can you give me a list, we'll use banking again, can you give me a list of all of my customers that have a checking account, a savings account, maybe a mortgage somewhere, they're between 35 and 50, and maybe they're interested in home equity line of credit. Can you give me that list? And they'll go running queries, they'll give you the results in an Excel file or something. You'll upload that into email marketing plan, you'll send those people an email. It's kind of onerous, it's not very adaptable, you can't scale that. Where the CDP comes in is that's going to do that for you. It's going to allow a marketer to go in there and say, I want to create a segment based upon those things I just said, and it's going to automatically push that segment into your CMS where you can drive experiences for those people. It's going to automatically drive those experiences into marketing automation so you can kick off an email campaign. And it's listening at the same time. If we're looking at our CMS and driving our behavior analytics back into the CDP, now when someone comes to my website, I know who they are. They go to the auto loan page for example. They're looking at rates and things like that. I have context from my data warehouse. That specific person, Derek Barca, paid off his car 3 years ago. Now he's on the auto loan page. The CDP is going to say, hey, he's probably in the market of an auto loan, and we know the auto loan sales cycle is super short. He's probably going to buy one in the next couple days. We don't have time to go run a query and get this information. Let's kick off an immediate campaign on the right platform. In this case, let's get the message in front of him immediately. Let's kick off a campaign to send him an email using Twilio or something like that. Or, an SMS message using Twilio. Kick it over to Salesforce Marketing Cloud to kick off an email journey. We can adapt to that very, very quickly and drive customer experiences with this ecosystem as a whole. Going back to kind of that whole context piece. So the story used to be, content is king. And again, I'm not saying content isn't important more. We need that content to drive those experiences. But really beyond that, we need context. So again, when we think about kind of that auto loan example I just used, context was the important thing. Derek was on the auto loan page. He paid off his car 3 years ago. It's pretty easy to deduce that he's probably in the market for another auto loan. Let's get in front of him quickly with an offer for our valued customers or members for a promotional rate on an auto loan and get that message there quickly. It's all about that context. And if you do it correctly, that's how you're going to kind of appease your customers. I have plenty of time. So I have a personal example here that kind of drove me bonkers. 2 weeks ago, I needed some new pants. I was hoping they'd be here for these. These are old pants. They're not new pants. So I ordered a couple of pairs of new pants a couple weeks ago, and then I kind of forgot about it. And then last week, I got a text message from that same company. They're called Bird Dog. They're very stretchy, comfortable pants. I highly recommend them. Been a customer of them for like 3 or 4 years. I have dozens of pairs of shorts, lots of pants from there. But anyway, so I get a text message from them, like advertising like a zip-up polo or something like that. And I look at it, I'm like, I don't need that. Then I'm like, wait a minute, where the hell are my pants? So I reply to the text message, and I'm like, how about you ship my pants before you send me a message for a new polo shirt? And of course, they didn't reply to the text message, which is dumb. They should have replied to the text message. So I later emailed them, like, hey, where's my order? It's been like 8 days and it hasn't even shipped yet. And I got like a token reply saying, hey, we're sorry, our warehouse is behind. It'll ship soon, or we can give you a refund. And I was like, it made me angry because I've been a customer of them for a long time. I went back and looked. I've actually complained about their shipping before, so they know I don't want their shipping. If they were using context, they would look at that and say, here's a valued customer with a lifetime value score of $3,000, buys lots of things from us. He hates our shipping. We screwed up his shipping again. Like, rather than just sending him a stock message, why don't we send him a message from the CEO saying, hey, we're really sorry. We're behind. We're going to refund their shipping, and we're going to give you a 20% off coupon and free shipping next time. That point, I still would have been kind of disgruntled, right? But I would have ignored it, took my coupon, and moved on. Now I'm telling you guys stories about all this, and now no one's going to buy these pants. So context is very important. When you reply to your customers, make sure you have context and give them the correct message. Moving on from that. So once you kind of build this kind of digital experience platform ecosystem, you have your kind of composable platforms kind of tied together, working in unison. Now's where AI orchestration comes in. Obviously, we've heard a lot about AI over the course of the day, and AI is obviously extremely powerful. I think I heard someone refer to it as accelerant or accelerator. I think it's the same thing. If you do something very well, AI can help you do that very well faster. Unfortunately, if you do something very badly, AI can make you do things very badly faster. So you have to get your platforms and ecosystems in place before you start to add AI. But once you have these kind of ecosystems in place, add AI to it, now it can kind of do those things I've been talking about. I come to the site or I reply to a text message saying, hey, where are my pants? AI can see that, it can go to the CDP, get context, and then kick off a way to add a coupon code for me, email me the coupon code, and keep me happy. It can orchestrate all those different experiences across all those different platforms that we've been talking about. So kind of in recap, digital experience platforms are BS. Your real DXP is kind of building that composable DXP ecosystem where you're picking best of breed products that are going to suit your needs for your specific industry. You're building that kind of around your core, which is your content management system, it's your CDP, it's your data warehouse, and you're connecting all those systems together to kind of create those personalized, tailored journeys across those different platforms. Now, it's obviously a lot of things to do, and obviously we don't all have $1 million in budgets that we can just go and do that. So typically when talking about things like this, we try to take like a crawl, walk around approach. How do I start small and figure those things out? Obviously, if you're on Sitecore or something like that today, my apologies. But if you're on those platforms, you've probably spent a lot of money on there, and you can't just kind of throw it away. So how do you start small? And the way you do that is to kind of, okay, focus that big platform on just doing the one thing it does well. It does content management well. And then add your marketing automation platforms, integrate them in, add your data warehouse and your CDP. Start to build that hub and spoke model where you have that core CMS CDP data warehouse, your other touch points around it, and from there, once you've kind of crawled, walked, and run, you can start to fly, and you add AI on top of it, and orchestration, and all of those things.
Is the DXP term even useful?
I went
in
back and forth with this. I
conversation,
think,
right? Because we've
yeah,
obviously, and I'm the first to admit, because I've been saying that for multiple years, just because at least I had to, because I present to all the analysts, right? But
well,
at
yeah,
the
you
same
have to,
time,
because Forrester and Gartner both use
right.
the DXP term for
Yep.
the quadrant and the wave or whatever Forrester calls it. Um, I It's a good question. I bet if you ask, actually, there's lots of markers in here. Who calls it a DXP versus a CMS? Who uses DXP? Who calls it a CMS? Everyone calls it a CMS. I would use CMS.
But at the same time, when you have your rendition of the DXP, which I very much
the
like,
ecosystem.
right? It's an ecosystem. It's because CMS has a defined function,
Yes.
right? And it's not a platform.
No, which is my whole point.
Yes, which is why I'm saying it, right? Which I'm
if I wasn't clear,
back
that's what I was
to.
trying to say.
If you talk about CMS, it sits in your composed structure,
Yep.
right? And it plays a certain role, but there's a whole bunch of other stuff that
Yep.
plays different roles to deliver the ultimate experience, whatever you desire.
Yep.
Right. And so the analysts kind of switched over to, once they realized it was a phantom, right? Which they, I think Gartner admitted that publicly in one publication, but now it's not what you buy, it's what you build. But then, yes, some people just don't build
Compose. We don't build it. We compose them.
You can, but you can compose it,
Yeah.
right? So, and I guess it still then goes to messaging and to relevance of that messaging and to, all right, what function does CMS stand for in the messaging? What function does the DXP stand for in the messaging?
I forget where it was. I saw you guys had a message once that was, I believe it was CMS plus CDP is greater than DXP. I would embrace that, personally, if I was a marketer for
Plus
a company
AI.
that had a CMS and a DXP, or CDP.
I'm going to ask you a question, Derek. Okay, so we shifted from DXP, now composable is the buzzword. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
And
we skipped headless. We can talk about that.
Skip headless, yes. Headless.
I have time, right? That's BS too.
So in my head, I always, being an engineer by trade, it's just a bunch of APIs. Like, what is, from your standpoint, what makes it a good composable system? Is it just, it can connect? And because at the end of the day, then I got to build all the stitchery around it using the APIs. But I was just wondering if you could elaborate.
It's the open APIs. It's the ability to kind of do anything through those open APIs, which then also enables the agents, the MCP servers, and things like that if the APIs are there.
And is there anything that makes one, because everyone's got APIs, so is it by default everything is composable? It's just, is it more conceptual, or is there things that make it a better, make it easier to compose? Yeah,
good question. Most of them do have APIs, but I think if you think about the more larger traditional monolithic DXPs, they have APIs, but they're meant CMS. Well, true. Think about Sycor and Adobe and all them guys. They're trying so hard to integrate everything together that their second thought is the APIs. Where I think about, I hate to call them headless, but if you think about the headless platforms, the headless hybrid platforms, they almost embrace the APIs first because they know they have to interact with those other components. Webhooks are hugely important, obviously. If you want to be able to kick off those interactions in other systems, you have to let other people know that things happen. So webhooks are obviously.
So in some sense, is there kind of a maturity? Like, I think you're saying that if it's sort of designed API first, there's a difference, and API is an afterthought. So those are things to look for in the maturity.
But to your point, everything has an API now, but it has to be a good API.
What are some examples of some CDP products?
Yeah, so obviously there's Sitefinity Insights, which is meant to work directly with Sitefinity. Other ones, High Touch is a big one. They work very closely with like Snowflake and things like that. Twilio Segment is another big one. Those are probably the three big ones. Salesforce Data Cloud, obviously Salesforce went and bought themselves a CDP. Salesforce is weird. They have Data Cloud, which is CDP, but then they just introduced Salesforce CDP as well, and they're transitioning from Salesforce. I would avoid that one. If Insights doesn't work for you, try High Touch. That's probably your best bet.
When you think about all of the different pieces of your tech stack, it seems like everything wants to be in charge.
Yes, that's true.
Is there an
everyone thinks they're the middle. Right?
Yeah. Is there an architecture yet where it's the next best action is being controlled or orchestrated as an orchestration layer inside of your tech stack? Or is that not yet something that somebody's built?
That's kind of what the CDP does, because the CDP is going to orchestrate a lot of that, where it's going to look at the data, see a trigger, and then kick off like a journey. So we'll use marketing automation, for example. A lot of these CDPs, once it discovers something happened, like I went to that auto loan page, it will go and kick off a journey in Marketing Cloud or whatever your email marketing platform might be. So that CDP is kind of that orchestration layer. Or you have the orchestration tools, like obviously Progress is using Workato as that integration hub. That does the same thing. It listens to those webhooks. Something happened in Sitefinity. Webhook gets raised. Integration hub hears it and then tells whoever has to hear about it.